One does not simply walk into Mordor. Its black gates are guarded by more than just orcs. There is evil there that does not sleep, and the Great Eye is ever watchful. It is a barren wasteland, riddled with fire and ash and dust. The very air you breathe is a poisonous fume. Dear traveler, we find ourselves in Mordor, a desolate volcanic region in the southeast of Middle-earth, known primarily as the domain of the Dark Lord Sauron. Its dark history and connection to evil make it one of the most significant and foreboding locations in J.R.R. Tolkien's Legendarium. Mordor is strategically positioned and naturally fortified, surrounded on three sides by mountain ranges, Ered Lithui to the north and Ephel Duath to the west and south. These natural defenses made it an ideal location for a stronghold. The only main entrance into Mordor is through the Black Gate of Morannon, a massive structure that blocked the passage through the mountains in the northwest. Inside Mordor, the land is dominated by the volcanic Mount Doom, located near the center of the region. This mountain, one of the few active volcanoes in Middle-earth, plays a central role in the story, as it is the only place where the One Ring can be destroyed. The plains surrounding Mount Doom, known as Gorgoroth, are barren and lifeless, reflecting the decay and ruin caused by Sauron's dark presence. To the east of Mordor lies Nurn, a more fertile area surrounding the Sea of Nurnen, where slaves worked the land to produce food for Sauron's armies. This region, though still under Sauron's control, was less harsh than the volcanic wastelands of Gorgoroth. Before the rise of Sauron, Mordor was an uninhabited and desolate land. Its isolation and natural defenses made it an ideal location for any dark power seeking a stronghold. During the Second Age, after the fall of Morgoth, Sauron fled to this desolate land to regroup and rebuild his strength. Sauron was Morgoth's most trusted lieutenant during the First Age, and after Morgoth's defeat in the War of Wrath, Sauron sought to continue his former master's dark ambitions. Mordor became the perfect base from which Sauron could enact his plans to dominate Middle-earth. In the year 1000 of the Second Age, Sauron officially chose Mordor as his home, where he began to fortify the land and build his armies. One of Sauron's greatest achievements in Mordor was the construction of Barad-dur, the Dark Tower, which became his primary fortress. Barad-dur, located close to Mount Doom, took hundreds of years to build and was completed around 1600 of the Second Age, just after Sauron forged the One Ring in the fires of Mount Doom. The One Ring was key to Sauron's power over Barad-dur. The Dark Tower was imbued with the magic and malice of the ring, making it nearly indestructible. Barad-dur served as Sauron's seat of power, from which he could oversee his realm and plot his conquest of Middle-earth. The tower was vast, formidable, and filled with dark sorcery, symbolizing Sauron's ambition and cruelty. Sauron's dominance in Mordor was not uncontested. After he revealed his true nature by attempting to enslave the other races of Middle-earth through the Rings of Power, the free peoples of Middle-earth united against him. This led to the formation of the last alliance of elves and men, led by Elendil of Númenor and the elven king Gil-galad. Their armies marched against Sauron in Mordor, leading to the climactic siege of Barad-dur. The siege lasted for several years, and during this time many lives were lost on both sides. Eventually, Sauron was defeated, and the One Ring was cut from his hand by Isildur, Elendil's son. With Sauron's defeat, Barad-dur was partially destroyed, as it could not be fully ruined while the ring survived, and Mordor fell into silence for a time. However, Isildur's decision to keep the One Ring instead of destroying it in the fires of Mount Doom ensured that Sauron's spirit endured. Though he was weakened and lost physical form, his presence still lingered in the world, and Mordor would once again become the focus of his power in the Third Age. For much of the Third Age, Mordor lay dormant, its lands abandoned, and its defenses in ruins. Sauron's servants, including the Nazgûl, kept watch over the land, but the Dark Lord himself had not yet returned to his full strength. However, around the year 1050 of the Third Age, Sauron began to stir again, and by 1980 the Nazgûl returned to Mordor to prepare for their master's eventual return. In 2002, the Nazgûl captured Minas Ithil, a Gondorian city on the western border of Mordor, renaming it Minas Morgul and using it as their stronghold. Sauron, meanwhile, had secretly established himself in Dol Guldur in Mirkwood, where he operated in secret until he was driven out by the White Council. By 2942, Sauron had returned to Mordor openly, and he set about rebuilding his armies and fortifying his stronghold. He ordered the reconstruction of Barad-dur and prepared for war, aiming to conquer all of Middle-earth. By the time of the Lord of the Rings, Mordor had fully regained its role as the center of Sauron's power. From Barad-dur, Sauron commanded vast armies of orcs, trolls, and other dark creatures, sending them forth to wage war on the free peoples of Middle-earth. He sought to recover the One Ring, which he believed would complete his dominion over the world. The Black Gate of Mordor was closed to all, guarded by an immense garrison, while the armies of Haradrim, Easterlings, and Southrons swelled the ranks of Sauron's forces. Mordor was nearly impenetrable, with the only other secret entrance being Cirith Ungol, the pass guarded by Shelob, the giant spider-like creature. Mordor's role in the story reaches its climax with the journey of Frodo and Sam to Mount Doom. Their perilous journey through the desolate land of Gorgoroth underscores the sheer hopelessness and despair that Mordor represents. It is a land where life cannot thrive, dominated by ash, fire, and shadow, a fitting reflection of Sauron's corrupting influence. In the final moments of the story, after Frodo and Sam reach Mount Doom, the One Ring is destroyed when Gollum inadvertently falls into the fires of the mountain. With the ring's destruction, Sauron's power is shattered, Barad-dur collapses, and Mordor is plunged into ruin. With Sauron's defeat and the destruction of the One Ring, Mordor ceases to be the center of evil in Middle-earth. The remaining inhabitants of Mordor, the orcs, trolls, and slaves, are left leaderless, and the land, long dominated by darkness and corruption, is abandoned. Though Sauron's power is forever broken, Mordor stands as a lasting symbol of evil and tyranny in Tolkien's world. It is a land forged and shaped by the malice of the Dark Lord, forever associated with the struggle for freedom and the high cost of resisting the forces of darkness. In the end, the fall of Mordor marks the end of an era and the beginning of a new age of peace and hope for Middle-earth. That concludes our journey into the history of Mordor. Until next time, do not stray from the path into darkness. The vault is now closed.